Now, here's something to make you feel so guilty you'll immediately run to the kitchen and start sorting through your bins. We British really are rubbish at recycling, and the government wants us to try harder. But hold on, could it possibly be that in typically pragmatic British fashion, many of us have figured out that the economic benefits of recycling don't amount to much? How often have you seen someone driving their car, wasting petrol, to throw away a few bottles? Do the sums really add up? Stephen Smith has an exclusive preview of some data which suggests not.
Jules here is a dedicated recycler of his household rubbish. So much so that he's even written a song about it.
Put it in the bin, yo, put it in the bin. Don't leave it on the floor. Says put it in the bin, recycle, yo. Put it in the bin.
Jules says this track will eventually be the music for a pop video starring youngsters from his part of London who will also contribute lyrics to his recycling rap.
We're going to get the children to write some lyrics for it, to represent or reflect on environmental issues such as recycling. If we don't have this planet, you know, what will we have? We've got to look after this world, make a difference right now. If we don't, it's just going to all crumble away.
Many of us are keen on recycling, perhaps not quite as keen as Jules, but Newsnight has seen evidence that we're not as clued up as we might be on one of the big environmental dangers facing us, global warming. According to research produced by the packaging industry, swapping your 4x4 for a more fuel-efficient car saves as much energy as an incredible 400 years of recycling bottles. Yes, we might have got the message on rubbish, but have we really changed?
Everything changes but you.
Do you come here often, as they say?
At the moment, probably once a week.
I actually come back for the second time today because I saw they're doing cardboard now, and I've been trying to persuade them to do cardboard for years. So
That's a gold star, isn't it, for effort?
I'm really excited about it.
Driving a mile less every day saves as much energy as is used in making a whole year's supply of packaging for the average household. Back at the Acton Recycling Centre, Steve's rocked up in his 4x4 to get shot of his old washing machine. Do you ever think before you get out in the road in your 4x4, actually this is burning up a lot of fuel?
No.
How good are you really? I mean, do you think twice before you take your car out, for instance?
No. The car is my big bugbear, but I do love to take my car out for a drive.
An opinion poll by Mori, commissioned by the packaging trade, found that although 70% of people believe recycling can help the environment, only 5% thought taking fewer foreign holidays would also be beneficial. Do you take foreign holidays?
We do, we fly, so we're probably nasty in that sense. We do a lot of travel, so we certainly put some fumes in the air that way.
So how long have you been doing this, Udi? Well, I started with INCPEN about 2.5 years ago.
Today, government ministers were still banging the drum, or perhaps rattling the can, for recycling.
Recycling is the simplest thing that an individual can do to limit the impact that he or she has on the environment.
But is it enough to advocate the simplest course of action on the environment when the research seen by Newsnight shows many of us are only too happy to take the easy way out?
Well, I'm joined now by Tony Juniper from Friends of the Earth and Jane Bickerstaffe of the Industry Council for Packaging and the Environment. Do you think recycling's nonsense, basically?
No, recycling actually is fine, but it's actually been given too much prominence. Government and industry have done a great job in raising the profile. 70% of people say it's the most important thing they think they can do to save the environment. But there are lots of other things that they could do which would have a bigger impact that they're not paying attention to.
Driving their 4x4 to throw away a few green bottles doesn't seem to be the smartest thing that you can do for the environment.
Exactly. They'd be much better off walking down to the bottle bank with their bottles.
But we won't, will we? I mean, that's the point. A lot of this is sort of a religious observance for people. It's a bit of mumbo-jumbo, it makes you feel good, but it doesn't do much.
No, that's wrong. We're delighted that people are recycling more. We've been campaigning for years to get the message through, and it's finally getting there. And of course, you know, we do have to look at the overall impact of recycling, and one of the things that we've been very keen on is to get doorstep recycling so that people really don't have to go to a lot of effort and don't have to use their cars. And indeed, legislation was passed in 2003 on the back of a Friends of the Earth campaign to get exactly that brought to every household by 2010.
But
so
we
that's
just
coming.
ignore it, because the thing is, we do the easy stuff, which is it makes you feel good to put the bottles here and there, throw them away, but we don't do the difficult stuff, which is pick up a heavy load of bottles and take it anywhere. We just don't do it.
Well, taking it to the front door is very different to driving it miles, and of course we do have to be getting the message across at a whole range of levels about our environmental impacts, and recycling is one way to bring down some of the damage we're causing to the planet. And we can sit here and talk about how much recycling compares to other environmental impacts, but I'll just chuck another one on the table, and that is the fact of recycling an aluminium can saves enough energy to power your television for 2 hours. So there's enormous amounts of hidden environmental benefits from recycling that have got nothing to do with disposing of waste, but are to do with saving resources and saving energy at the same time, and that's about the climate change issue too.
Where does this, should this rank as a government priority? Because if they bang on about that, they don't bang on in the same way about our 4x4s and saving, what was it, 400 years of recycling bottles if we got out of a 4x4 and drove something else.
Exactly. I mean, we do support, we ourselves as industry have supported campaigns to increase recycling, but we now think they've definitely got to turn their attention to the things that are more politically difficult, things like persuading people that they shouldn't be flying abroad so often, they should perhaps take holidays in this country, and buying a more fuel-efficient car. I mean, no government is going to say, don't buy a car.
Nor are they going to say, don't take a holiday, are they?
No, but they could say, think about how you travel on holiday. You don't always have to fly. If you planned your holiday, you could take the train.
Oh, yeah, come on.
Some will, though.
Right,
this is a bit which the packaging industry campaigning against flying.
Shall we? Is that the plan?
Well, you can take the train to France and Belgium, of course, and you can take the train from Paris and Brussels across lots of Europe. So, you know, not taking foreign holidays isn't really the message. It's about reducing your environmental impact in whichever way you can. And one of the things we do have to bear in mind about waste, it's not simply a question of disposing of things in a way which is a bit more environmentally friendly. We have to think very carefully about the environmental impacts involved in products before we even get them. The destruction of ancient rainforests, the mining of indigenous people's lands, the production of pollution and destruction of the environment far, far away to make products that we're landfilling.
Just a straight factual question. When I throw away a glass bottle or put it in recycling, is it cheaper to make glass out of that or to make it from scratch? Is it really cheaper?
No, it's better to recycle it, but it's a tiny difference between making it from resources. It's really small. The big issue here is we know in this country how to handle waste. We know how to recycle it, we know how to burn it, we know how to landfill it, and we can do all those things safely. The big issue is global climate change, which we haven't a clue how to manage. And so really the top priority...
But it's not either or, though, is it?
No, it isn't. It's both. But the top priority ought to be making people understand the impact that they have on their everyday lives on global climate change and giving them the simple things to do, like turning the thermostat down 2 degrees, like driving 1 mile less each year, each day, would save the same energy as a whole year's supply of packaging. We're just trying to put packaging in perspective because there's so much emphasis on it, and fine, we know it's been emphasised, and we have, by law and by
I think the packaging industry has got a big job to do itself in giving less packaging to people when they go to the shops, and I think a walk around any supermarket in this country would reveal literally thousands of examples of unnecessary packaging that people are taking home even though they don't want it. And it's all very well to be telling people they shouldn't be driving or flying, but the packaging industry also needs to be investing a great deal more effort itself in reducing what people are taking from the shops.
In Austria, for example, you don't get plastic bags. You go to the supermarket, you have to take your own bag. Everybody gets into the habit. Nobody thinks about plastic bags unless you want to pay about 9 euro cents per bag, which people don't pay.
And it's very strange that we don't do that. Well, we can. We are, as individuals.
You're calling, the packaging industry is calling for this? Is the packaging industry calling for a plastic bag tax? That's what we need to hear.
The packaging industry is calling for people to take responsibility for their actions. And,
so you are calling for a plastic bag tax?
No, you talk to any retailers and they will tell you, one of my members, Boots, takes a lot of trouble training their staff nationwide to say to people, do you want a bag? I mean, you've got to provide the bags for shoppers, but you don't have to.
Yes.
It's been actually quite effective.
Well, the national economic policies are the part of this, of course, and at the moment we're still sending materials into landfill because it's still economically viable for waste operators to do that. We need to be increasing the landfill levy and at the same time applying that to incinerators so that we can start to send signals across the economy rather than just asking people when they go into a shop, do you want a bag or not? This is big picture economics inside this subject as well.
We'll have to leave it there, but we have made rubbish interesting, I should say. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.